All right, we're ready to start another live. It's Will, and I'm here with a cup of tea. I've got my cards out. I lit a candle. If you are interested in a reading, feel free to say hello in the chat. I'm going to put a little chat up here. I think I can pin it. Let's see. Hi, Jasmine. Just bear with me a second. I'm trying to figure out something with the chat. Hi, Sabrina. Okay, so I've got a couple things in the chat here that I thought would be smart to include so that folks sort of know what the protocol is here. Readings are free, of course, today, and I'm doing them on a first come, first served basis. So Jasmine was first here. So let me just start my list up. And then we have Sabrina will be next. And we will go from there. So let's get, and Jasmine, I see you already posed questions. Christian, really truly attracted to you. What is his current views on you? We are in no contact. He's a Virgo. Okay, so let me burn some Palo Santo and cleanse these cards and then do a shuffle and we'll lay some cards out for you, Jasmine. And while I'm doing that, let me just a few words about the tarot. I read the cards as carefully, as straightforwardly as best I can. And I am interested in communicating or interpreting what I see in the cards as opposed to just saying what I think people want to hear. So I hope to give lots of happy, optimistic messages, but I'm going to read what I really see. And that may not always be what folks want to hear. But if that's what the cards say, then that's what they say. and I will deliver all messages as kindly and compassionately as I can. But I'm not going to lie and say that I see something that I don't see. So, be prepared. Whatever question you ask, you may or may not get the answer you are hoping to get. I can't know that in advance. I know that sometimes readers will just tell you what they think you want to hear, and I am more interested in reading the cards. So, Montaigne, hello, welcome. I can add you to the list. I think you'd be third for your question if you'd like to hang out. We're going to start with Jasmine's question today, which is about someone named Christian. And Jasmine, can I ask you, let's see, you said you wanted to know, is he really truly attracted to you? And what are his current views on you? You're no contact. So it sounds like you did date this person. Jasmine and Christian were dating at one point. Is that correct? And Montaigne, I've got you on the list. So we've got Jasmine, Sabrina, and then Montaigne. Ooh, we've got a jumper. Let's pull that out. Okay, Jasmine says, no, we were not dating, but he would make a lot of plans, like to go to the movies and hang out, but then you would never meet up. Got it. So it seemed like he was interested, but then, it was all talk and it never really turned into anything. So you want to know, in the past, was he really attracted to you? Number one. And then there's sort of a second question, which is, what are his current views on you? So I'm going to treat that like two separate questions. I think we'll get a more accurate answer if we treat it like two separate questions. And so I'll lay out 3 cards for each one. I'll lay out 3 cards for, was he attracted to you in the past, and 3 cards for in the present. What are his sort of thoughts and feelings towards you? We had the Queen of Cups jump out here, and I suspect that that card is representing you. But we'll see. We'll read it in relation to the other cards that come up. All right, let's pull some cards. So, was he attracted to Jasmine, and what are his current feelings or thoughts towards her? Okay, we've got another court card, Knight of Swords, and this likely represents Christian. We've got the Sun, which usually stands for friendship. And we've got 2 batons, which is about making plans. So my initial thought would be that to some extent, I think he saw you more as a friend. That's what this card would indicate in the middle. We've got these 2 young people hanging out in the sunshine together, having a lovely time, and maybe one of them is leading the other one somewhere, but they're really more like friends, and like it's not the lovers, for example. With the Two of Wands here, this can be about making plans. It can also be about having a choice or being at a kind of crossroads, right? And so there's maybe a hint of the idea here that that friendship could take a different path, so to speak. But let's look at the next three cards and see what they say. Hi, Shraddha. I'm glad you showed up. Hello. The next three, Two Swords, boundaries, Two Coins, balancing things, and Six Cups, which is often about memories of the past. So let me see. I've got a message here. Jasmine says he called BB one time when text him. He went to come to his house, met his roommate. He did say he's talking as friends. So, the next three cards, which we've laid out to indicate what's happening in the present with him towards you, show that he's maybe putting up some boundaries, or like still trying to come to a decision about maybe how he feels about you. And it seems like he's juggling a couple of different options. Like, I get the sense that he might be very indecisive. And I say that because of all the twos that are showing up. And twos are the number of like having a choice, right? I could do this or I could do that. And we've got two wands, we've got two swords, and we've got two coins. And so it makes me think that this person is like, can't make up their mind, sort of, right? With the Six of Cups here, I would think of the past. He has memories, like he remembers these interactions where he'd made plans with you and then sort of never followed through on them. But with the Six of Cups, we would sort of think of continuity. In other words, I'm not sure that I would be too confident in saying that he's going to change his ways at all. Although, again, with all these twos, it's like he knows that he has different possibilities in front of him. He has different choices available to him, but then he's not like choosing, you know? It's like someone who's standing there and they're like, well, I could do this or I could do that. And then they just sort of aren't doing anything. Let me check the chat again. Jasmine says he would send pictures. He would send pictures that made you feel uncomfortable, and then you blocked his phone number. Oh, that's not good. If he's making you feel uncomfortable. I mean, I'll tell you this. Like, if you're wondering if you should do anything to pursue a relationship with this person, here are a couple of things to notice. Number one, this card that jumped out is the Queen of Cups. And of the cards on the table, to me, it seems most closely to represent you. And then this Knight of Swords representing this guy, Christian, and notice that it's a queen as opposed to like a page, for example, or a knight. And so it's someone in a kind of high rank in the tarot deck, right? And he is represented by a knight, which is below you in rank. And so that would indicate not that it's impossible to form a partnership or anything like that, but there is a sense in which you sort of are higher up than him. There's a sense that maybe you are more stable or you've achieved more, or you're just like more mature than him. And if he's a knight, it means he's still progressing on his journey in the sense that, like, he's got a long way to go still. And so the other thing to consider is not the rank so much as it's the suit, which is swords. And anytime I see swords court cards come up, I think of a person who's holding a metaphorical weapon, right? A sword is a weapon. And so he could use that to attack or defend, right? Which means someone could get hurt. So I'm always a little wary of these swords court cards, depending on the context and the situation and all that stuff. And yes, Sabrina, you will be next. I do notice that the queen also has a little dagger or sword of her own. So, like, I think you could take care of yourself, but I don't know. I'm getting the feeling that this person is like indecisive or playing games with this, like juggling things around and playing games with you. The only card at all that makes me think this is someone who could be good for you. I mean, with the sun coming up, I do think like maybe a friendship is an option, but it sounds like that's not on the table in any way. It sounds like I'm not getting a sense that you would want to be friends with this person. And this card, the Six of Cups, is usually all about stuff in the past, memories of things that did happen. And we know that with our memories, they're not always like we can get stuck in the past. You know what I mean? Instead of like moving forward. So and Jasmine says he's still grown work against me. Like he's still, I'm not totally sure how to interpret that. But he's working against you is what I'm hearing. I mean, this like doesn't sound great. I guess that's me thinking about what you're saying in the chat and less focusing on what I'm seeing in the actual cards. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this sounds too good. So like, what did he think about you? I think in the past he thought of you as not as like as a friend or maybe someone he could make plans with, but it sounds like he never followed through on those. And in the current moment, I think he's being indecisive, maybe playing games, putting up boundaries, and remember and kind of being immature, like kind of childish, I would say. With the Six of Cups, we can think about people who are in a position where they need someone else to sort of guard over them because they're immature. And that's what I would get with this six. So like, I guess you didn't ask me what you should do, but if I were gonna say what should you do, I would say I don't see a whole lot of value in this guy from the little bit that I know about it. So, Jasmine, what do you think? Does that clear things up at all? Does that give you some peace of mind, some clarity? And while we're doing that, I'll just look and see Sabrina's question. Sabrina wants to know, is my next relationship going to be with someone you already know? Okay, we can do that. I see we have more folks watching. Welcome. My name's Will. I read tarot. I'm doing free readings today. Okay, great, Jasmine. I'm glad that it makes some more sense. It seems more clear. Yeah, I kind of get the feeling that you're probably better off without this person. All right, so let's shuffle. And so, Sabrina, there's sort of two questions. I'm wondering, one question was, is your next relationship going to be with someone you know? Okay, we'll stick with that one, as opposed to when will your next relationship happen. Okay, cool. Got it. Hello, Frederick Cameo, if I'm saying that right. Welcome. I'm Will. I'm doing free readings, free tarot readings. My channel is a few months old, and I've just started live streaming very recently, and I'm liking it. It's fun. Hi, EB Tarot. I'm great, thanks. And hello, B. I see you want to be added to the list, so B, I will add you. Okay, so Sabrina wants to know if her next relationship is going to be with someone she already knows. And so I think what I'll do is lay out two sets of 3 cards, and the first 3 will indicate the possibility of being in a relationship with someone you already know, Sabrina, and the second 3 will indicate being in a relationship with someone you don't know yet, and we'll compare the two, and that should give us an answer that makes more sense than if we just pulled a few cards. All right, so these cards indicate being in a relationship with someone you already know. We'll see if there's anything in there that looks like a relationship. And then these 3 cards on the bottom indicate being in a relationship with someone you don't know. And we'll see what that tells us. Okay. The Popess. Ah, the Lovers. And 6 cups. So we'll look at these other 3, but seeing the Lovers is that makes it kind of easy, right? I'm thinking that you would enter into a relationship with someone that you know from the past, right? As I said just a moment ago, with Jasmine's reading, when this same card came up, this card is often about memories, nostalgia, things from the past, right? Memories from the past. And so, uh, yeah, I'd say here you are. You're the high priestess or the popess, right? You're entering into a relationship with the lover here, and it's someone from your past. Really, really clear to me. But let's look at the other 3 cards. Friendship with someone you maybe don't know yet. 8 coins. And the devil. So no really relationship stuff in that. I mean, if we pushed it, maybe, but here I would say it's more like be wary of a friend at work. A friend at work may not be telling you 100% the truth, or it could be the kind of thing where like you're having too much fun with a friend at work, and that could maybe cause some issues. But that doesn't have anything to do with your question. Your real question was, for your next relationship, is it going to be someone you know or someone you don't know? And it's obviously someone you know from the past. Yep. That's a quick one. The cards aren't always so crystal clear, but that's a really clear one to me. So let me see the chat. Let's see what we've got going on here. EB Tarot, yes, I will add you to my list. And Maria, I will add you to my list, Maria. Welcome. Glad you're here. My name's Will. And then Sabrina's asking, is the first card to the left the Hierophant? This is the High Priestess. This is the High Priestess. The Popess in this deck. In other decks, she would be the High Priestess. Yeah. And so, you know, she's someone who's knowledgeable, intuitive, intelligent. She's got her book there on her lap, right? And she's the kind of person who knows when to speak up and also when to be quiet when it's in her best interest. Like she can keep a secret if she needs to, right? And so here, you know, I would think like this could be a situation where you are approached by someone from your past, right? Because I think of the High Priestess. I don't like to use the word passive. I prefer to say like non-active or something more like that, because passive just sounds, I don't know, it sounds bad for some reason, but it's not. But she's the kind of person like she doesn't need to be active, right? She can be more receptive, might be a better word. And so I would think here that, you know, if we saw a different card, like if we saw the Queen of Wands representing you here, that would be a totally different story. But with the High Priestess or the Popess, she's just sort of chill, hanging out, doing her own thing. And then the lover comes along, right? And it's someone from the past. Yeah. Cool. You're welcome, Sabrina. That was I love it when that happens and the cards are just like really straightforward and clear, and I didn't feel any ambiguity there. It doesn't always happen like that, but it sure did just there. So let me look at my list. I think we've got Montaigne next. And Montaigne wants to know, will I hear from a guy from my past soon? All right, Montaigne, will you hear from a guy from your past soon? And are we talking about a specific person, or are you wondering just like any guy from the past? Or is there like a specific one where you're wondering if that one in particular is going to contact you soon? A specific one. Okay. And is this specific one someone that you have dated, or someone you maybe are interested in dating but that you haven't dated? Okay, someone you're interested in but haven't dated yet. Great. So let me shuffle a little. And so since this is a timing question, because you'd ask, will they contact you soon? With questions like that, I like to build a time frame into the question. So shall we say, you said soon, so should we say, how about a couple of months, or is that too long? We could go with like 1 month. I don't think I'd want to go shorter than a month. Could be, okay, why don't we say a couple of months? That will be our time frame. Okay. So is this person from Montaigne's past going to be reaching out, contacting them soon? And so for this, I'll just lay out 3 cards. Within the next couple of months, is this person going to be reaching out? They are overthinking it. 10 swords means they're all in their head. Ooh, 10 coins. They're thinking about long term, what would this mean for them in the long run? And the Chariot would suggest taking action. The Chariot is someone who does something, right? Is trying to make something happen. And in order to have success, they have to go forward and take action. They are also someone who wears armor, right? So this person, I would think, is a little afraid of being emotionally vulnerable because they're scared of getting hurt. And for that reason, they are overthinking, hesitating, and they want to make sure that long term reaching out to you would be the right thing to do. But the last card here is saying, like, I mean, I would read this as they were overthinking, and then they were considering long term what would come of this for their own personal well-being, right? And then they decide to do it. So I'm going to say tentatively yes. Now, this is a predictive question. And I've said before on this channel that with all predictive questions, they are always subject to change, right? Because the cards are taking a snapshot of what's happening in this moment. But tomorrow, something totally different could occur in this person's life that changes everything, right? Much like our feelings, our emotions, and the weather, things change, right? So at this moment, I would say it's likely that this person is going to come driving into your life again. But of course, that's subject to change depending on everybody's free will and factors that are outside of any one person's control, right? But yeah, I'd say I think there's a good chance of that. So, Montaigne, sounds like that probably is sort of confirming what you already thought. Yes? And Plamena, I will add you to my list. Okay, cool, Montaigne. Yeah, this was another one that's pretty straightforward. I guess maybe I would just add, like, with this 10 of coins, it's about thinking about the legacy you'll leave behind. It's the kind of card where you're like, not is this good for me now, but is this good for me in 10 years, right? In the long term thinking about my life is what I'm doing the right thing. And so I think that's some of what's floating around in this person's head. So next, B, you are up. Oh, thanks about my handwriting. I appreciate that. Okay, so B, let me see if you have already posted a question. Okay, there's your question. What do I need to focus my energy on right now? Okay, great. We can do that. Let me put these in the deck and shuffle. And then what does B need to focus their energy on right now? Okay, what does B need to focus their energy on right now? So we'll lay out 3 cards. That should give us a nice focused answer. Okay, we've got some swords. Okay. This sun card is stalking us today, isn't it? I think it's come up in 3 of the readings so far. So, 8 swords, 9 coins or pentacles, and the sun. So let's start with the swords over here on the left. And this would be that maybe there's a little bit of defensiveness. Maybe you're feeling a little bit stuck or in your head about stuff, trying to figure out, like, how do I move forward? Maybe you feel a little bit like stuck in the mud, or that you've had to put up some barriers between you and some other people. And so the first thing to focus on is taking those barriers, taking that sense of defensiveness or being stuck in your head and staying motivated about them. That would bring us here to the 9 of coins. Staying motivated, like don't let yourself sink down in the mud. Work on being the best you can be. Work on improving your material, meaning like financial situation, your energy, your health, your living space. Focus on making that as comfortable as you can for yourself. And friendships. That's what this card would say. The Sun, having fun with friends. So like if there's any possibility of like maybe you had a friend that maybe you haven't felt really close to that friend and you've had to sort of put some swords up from them, I think now would be the time to invest yourself in that person again. The whole arc of this little spread is saying like work on getting over this feeling of being stuck or defensive. And there's lots of reasons why people could feel that way. I mean, the first one that comes to mind is if we think about this 8 of swords, the card that comes before it would be the 7. And so that can be about somebody else scheming against you or deceiving you or lying or doing something that maybe ended up hurting you, doing something kind of shady, right? And maybe that sort of thing is what led to you feeling like you need to be a little defensive, like the world hurt you perhaps, and so you want to keep the world at bay so that you don't get hurt again, right? Makes sense. Improving your own home life, material life, focusing on staying motivated and letting someone or something in. If we think about the way these coins are organized on the card, we've got 8 coins and then a 9th one, which is like a new element that has come into the picture. And I think this new element is coming in the form of a friendship, right? So a couple different sort of 3 different things there. But I think the main thing is get past this 8 of swords defensiveness being in your head situation by focusing on letting something in and improving your ordinary everyday life, right? Your home space, your workspace, exercising so that you have energy, stuff like that, right? With the ultimate goal of deepening a friendship, having fun with friends, going out in the sun with friends, that kind of thing, or with one particular friend if it's just one. That's the message for you there. So how does that sound? Beak, can you think of like that if you're feeling stuck in your head or that defensiveness, and if that is maybe related at all to a friend or okay. B says everything I'm saying hits, even my choice of words is perfect. I do feel a bit stuck right now, don't have much going on. I would reach out to a friend. I would see like if you can think like who comes to mind when I say who's a friend of yours, just like who pops into your head. Maybe give them a text, see if they want to go have a coffee and walk around the park or something, right? I like speaking from my own experience. This has nothing to do with what I see in the cards, but I'm a pretty introverted person, and I think that often people who read tarot or seek out tarot readings are also usually pretty introverted. And I think for us, it can be hard sometimes to know that we're lonely. Like we might be kind of lonely and not even recognize it. And so maybe just reach out to a friend and see like what does that make a difference? Okay, let me look at my list. I think we have EB Tarot next. All right, let's see. EB Tarot wants to know, can I know about this new guy whose family has asked for my hand for me? His name is Asfand. How does how does he see me? I'm Noor. It's an arranged marriage. Okay. So, sounds like this is a guy you don't know very well, or maybe hardly at all, but you are arranged to be married to this person. And so you just want to know, like, what's this guy like? Okay, so let's see. Let me get a sip of tea here. I think for this one, I want to use a different deck. I'm going to pull out the Trinity Tarot. And Mira, yes, I will add you to the list. So my list right now, everyone, we're doing EB Tarot now, and then I have Maria Plamena and Mira. And I don't think I've said it yet, so I will say that if you all subscribe to the channel, then you can see when I'll be going live. And my plan is to go live every day this week for a couple hours. I have a lot of travel planned this summer, and so that's why I'm trying to do a lot of going live now while I can. And then as I'm traveling, when I'm able to, if I'm able to, I will also be going live. And then I also have a bunch of like pick a card reading videos and tarot unboxings and deck reviews and stuff on my channel if that interests anyone. But if you subscribe, then you'll be able to see when I'll be going live in the future. And I try to set that like a day in advance so that you can see with some notice, some advance notice, when I'm planning to be on YouTube. And I'm just shuffling these off camera because they're really stubborn to shuffle, and I will mess up the altar cloth if I try to do it on camera. I really like these cards because they're square, so I can fit lots of them in the camera frame, but shuffling them is a pain. Yeah, it is a beautiful deck, EB Tarot. I've gotten it recently, and I really like it. It's kind of minimalist. The images are there's not like a lot of illustration, and so I like that because it sort of opens up the interpretation a little bit more, and you can fit it more closely to the context of the question. So we are asking, let me just scroll up to the question one more time and make sure I've got it firmly in my mind. All right, we want to know for Noor, this guy, Asfand, we just want to know about this guy, Asfand. What do we know? What can we know? What may we know? What are we allowed to know about this guy, Asfand, in relation to Noor, aka EB Tarot? And so I'm going to lay out a 9-card box spread because it'll take a little longer, but there's I just feel like we need more information than 3 cards can give us. I feel like with 3 cards, I wouldn't really be able to know enough. Okay, so I'll flip them over one at a time and then we'll read them. There's a couple different patterns we can get from this spread. So 8 of Cups, the World, 3 of Cups, 3 of Wands, 7 Pentacles, Justice, 4 of Wands, 7 of Swords, 9 of Swords. Okay. And this is really coming from his perspective. Like when we're looking at these cards, we're going to think about them from his perspective as best we can. So let's start with the center card and then we'll look at the corners. Center card is 7 of Pentacles. And so this card is about putting in the effort to create something, build something, like planting a seed, right? And then hoping that it turns into a big, beautiful tree that produces lots of fruit, right? And everybody's happy. And but there is some uncertainty with this card about, like, if I plant the seed, is it going to grow into a tree? And if it does grow into a tree, is it going to be fruitful, so to speak? So that's at the center. In other words, I think that Asfand is probably wondering the same things about you as you're wondering about him, right? He's wondering, like, if I marry this person, are we going to be able to grow together, right? And it's a question with the 7. 7s are about obstacles or transitions or challenges, right? And so there's a question of, like, is this going to work, as opposed to being certain that it will definitely work. The corners can give us a little more context. So we'll read those with the top left and then we'll go around clockwise. And so the 8 of Cups would indicate feeling like it's time to move on emotionally. Like maybe it's time to grow up a little bit. Maybe he's feeling like it's time for him to grow up. Or, you know, I don't know anything about his history and maybe you don't either. This would think like if there had been any kind of previous arrangement or relationship or something like that, finding that to be sort of unsatisfying and deciding to move on to something else, right? With the goal of emotional growth, building a relationship, growing a relationship. So far, everything I'm seeing is really suggesting good, honorable intentions, right? Like there's nothing here where I would be super worried about it. Okay. The next card in the corner is the Nine of Swords. And so this is about anxiety. So I think he maybe does have some anxiety where he's wondering specifically, I think, anxiety about the wedding. Four of Wands is a celebration with lots of people gathered together. And so this is the card I would read, I think, as the wedding, or a group of people gathering together to celebrate something. And so anxiety about the wedding would make sense there. So I think that he's as uncertain about things maybe as you are, which, I think makes sense to me in that kind of context. So the next thing we can do is look at the columns and the rows, but let me peek at the chat real quick. Hi, Prob. I'm good. I'm doing great. And I see also Nicole. All right. So let me add Nicole to the list, and then I'll add Prob to the list. And just so everybody can see the list, we're on EB Tarot now, and then Maria, Plamena, Mira, Nicole, Prob. Okay, so Noor says, I'm very nervous. Yes, I can see that. I think he's nervous too. So if we look at the columns, we would see him wanting to move on from an old relationship because he's trying to move forward in life and find stability. That's all good. That's all honorable. I don't think we have any issues there. There's one little bit of concern I would have down here. So he is wanting to, how can I put this? He wants to make his way in the world, so to speak. And I think needs, or is hoping for, some support from family to do that. But this Seven of Swords would indicate someone who is strategizing. There's a certain element of strategy, or using cunning, or trying to, like, even maybe being willing to manipulate, if it came to that, manipulate a situation to get one's own way. Okay. And I guess maybe everybody kind of does that to some extent. The thing that maybe is just a little bit of something to watch out for would be that this card's appearing in the bottom row. And when we read it, you'll see in a moment, the bottom row is what he's not totally aware of. And so he may not know the extent to which he's willing to be scheming to get his way in the world. So we'll come back to that in a moment. Moving forward, I think he's someone who is interested in emotional growth, in taking responsibility for himself. He wants to do the fair, right, good, just thing. He's not deliberately trying to hurt people. He doesn't seem to have any bad motives, but he is anxious and maybe having a little trouble sleeping because he's unsure about what's going to come of this. He's thinking a lot about moving on from his previous emotional situation or relationship so that he can do something in life, in the world, and he's ready to grow. That's what he's thinking about. In the middle column, we have him turning thought into action, taking action, waiting to see if it will pay off, and being willing to take responsibility for himself. But I think what he doesn't know down here in the bottom row, he's not totally aware of how anxious he is about the wedding. And he's not totally aware that he's willing to scheme or plan or manipulate if he has to in order to sort of get what he wants, right? So there's nothing terribly concerning here. There's no devil card, there's no death card, there's no tower. There's no 10 of swords that would indicate someone stabbing someone else in the back, potentially. So I don't see any major red flags. It's a complex situation, and I think he seems to be a very positive, optimistic kind of person, which is great. But that might prevent him from seeing some of his own more negative qualities. We all have them. We all have negative qualities, right? But this guy in his mind is very much about, let's move forward. Let's bring things to a resolution. Let's get some emotional growth. Let's have a good time, right? And maybe he's a little hesitant about whether this match is going to pay off. But underneath it, he's not totally aware of really the anxiety that's bubbling up and how much he is willing to be cunning or strategic, or I always think of a fox with this card, you know, the way that a fox will like, I don't know, steal something in the night, right? So let me look at the chat here. Yeah, the situation is more practical, not really emotional. And I think that's why we've got pentacles at the center of the spread. I do think, even though it is practical and not emotional, with this 3 of Cups, I think he's open to like getting to know you, and he's open to emotional growth. But at the center of it, yes, it's a practical arrangement. Let's see. He's family oriented. That makes sense. You're saying he's optimistic, so it's just an act of moving on in life. Yeah, I'm saying he's optimistic because the top row is like what he's conscious of in his mind, and the bottom is what he's kind of unconscious of. He's thinking it, but he doesn't totally know that it's driving his actions. And so what he's thinking about up here is the 8 Cups, which is like moving on to the next good thing, trying to find, if the old situation didn't work out, let's go on a quest. Let's move forward to find something that will work, right? So that's an optimistic kind of thing. The World, which is about ending one thing and starting a new thing. It's about bringing opposites together, gathering up. It's a very happy card, the World, most of the time. And 3 of Cups, which is about emotional growth. It's like 2 people coming together to produce something better than just the 2 of them have, right? Something fulfilling and satisfying and happy. And so those cards are all in the top of the spread, which is like, that's what he's thinking about. So he's consciously optimistic, but underneath that optimism, I think there's some anxiety and a little bit more of trepidation and uncertainty than maybe he's willing to consciously, openly admit to himself. And so, EB Tarot says, I'm not sure if he's emotionally available. I'm an emotional person. So, I mean, I guess the other reading of this, this card, Three of Cups, it can mean friendship, right? It can mean emotional growth. And I was thinking of that as emotional openness, or being like emotionally available to the other person. If it sounds like that's not true for him, one other reading of this, sometimes this is known as a card that represents children, right? Two cups produce a third cup, right? And so maybe he's thinking that he wants to have children, right? That could be on his mind because it's the top row. That would be another way of reading. And so, like, if that doesn't sound good to you, then that would be something to be wary about. If none of the other interpretations fit for this card, then that would be something to consider. So, how does that sound? I gave you a lot there. I threw a lot at you there with all of these cards. Yeah. So, I don't see any major red flags. I think it would be good for him to get in touch with his anxiety a little more. But, that could also just be the current context of the situation where it's kind of uncertain because, you two don't know each other. Okay, so let me look at my list. I think I've got Maria next. Maria, are you here? You're very welcome. I enjoyed doing the reading. I hope everything works out. These cards are pretty good, I think there's some trepidation, but I don't see anything that's really too scary, right? And if Maria's not here, next would be Plamena. And then next would be, I think, Mira. If Mira's here. Plamena. All right. We are going to do you next. I hope you're good too. Let me just scroll up and see if you posted a question already. You did. Oh, a turtle. Okay. What is going on with my turtle, Eric? It was taken away from me by my ex-boyfriend and one of his friends. What is happening with them? Okay, so you have a pet turtle, Eric, and your ex-boyfriend and one of his friends like stole your turtle, and you want to know what's going on with the turtle. Do I have that right? You don't need to repost it if it sounds like I understand it correctly that they've stolen your pet turtle and you just want to know like I guess is it like you want to know if the turtle is safe or is it more like you want to know why they took it? Also, by the way, I'm just going to say, don't steal people's stuff. I can't believe stealing someone's pet. That's low. Whoever would do that. I mean, that's not no bueno. That's not cool. Okay, so I'll do 3 cards to ask how is Eric the turtle? And let's see what we get. I understand. It's a complicated situation. You just want to know, is the turtle safe? Okay. Ooh, I hope it is. Let's see what we get. Okay. I guess I can just tell you like yeah, okay. Like they took the turtle to get revenge on you or to hurt you. Okay. So if I'm gonna deal out 3 cards, and if we see coins and cups, those mean stability and happiness. And if we see wands and swords, those mean work and pain. And then that'll give us an overview, but then we'll look at the individual cards to see what's in there. And welcome to those of you who are perhaps just joining us. I'm Will. I'm doing free tarot readings probably for another hour or so. If you're interested in getting on the list, you can request that by typing in the chat. Readings are free today. And if I don't get to you today or you can't stay, you can always subscribe to my channel and you can see when I'll be going live in the future. So let's see what we've got. Eric the Turtle. Queen of Cups. The Pope. Really? Okay. I wasn't expecting 3 court cards. Well, 2 court cards and a major. Okay, well, here's what I see. I would read you as the Queen of Cups with this cup here, which reminds me kind of like a turtle's terrarium or like a habitat. You could keep the turtle in something like that because it holds water, right? And turtles are amphibians. So here you are with your turtle. And then we've got this figure who is the Hierophant or the Pope, who is someone who would give counsel or advice. It's someone you would go to if you were like, how do I take care of a turtle? Right? I don't know how to take care of a turtle. How would I do that? And then we've got a Knight of Wands over here. Wands are often about putting in work, right? And so I would read this as some person, whether it's your ex or your ex's friend or whoever it is, some person has looked to figure out how to take care of a turtle and is now putting in the work to do that. So that's a positive sign that they are trying to do something. But I want to pull 3 more cards because the answer I'm getting is they're trying to take care of it. That doesn't actually say what its status is. So I want 3 more cards. Okay, the Magician, 4 Cups, and the King. Well, there's a lot of people involved in this situation. Like, I would wonder if the turtle is somewhere where I think it's fine. The 4 cups indicate stability, and they're cups, so they're, it's water. Turtles need water, and so stable water source. That makes me think the turtle is safe. I don't think it's completely out of danger. I think it's fine, but the Magician would indicate there's someone around, like maybe a kid who would want to be mischievous with it. Like it could even be another pet, right? But someone who would be tricky to be around. But at the moment, they're looking away from. I would read this as the turtle. I guess the 4 cups remind me a little bit of like the shape of a turtle's aquarium or something. And then there's someone over here who has a sword, the King of Swords, someone with a sword who has the ability, who could potentially be harmful because they have a sword to the turtle. But again, they're looking away, right? So I think right now it's fine. But it does suggest there's a lot of people here. Like the household, the environment is filled with people. And so there's an element of uncertainty with like, what are these people going to do? Is someone going to do something that might hurt the turtle, maybe without trying to do it? Or like, is there a kid who's going to play with the turtle and play too rough or something like that? But at the moment, the 4 of Cups is a really good sign, and I think would indicate it's probably fine. Like, okay, the 4 means stable. It doesn't mean thriving, right? It's not 10 cups, but it's not like if I saw 4 swords, I would think it's retracted into its shell and it's afraid to come out, right? But I don't see that, right? I see 4 cups. And so that means like doing just fine, maybe not excellent, but not in any serious pain or danger right at the moment. And sounds like there's a follow-up question. His friend should be taking care of it, but is he going to return it? I do think his friend is trying to take care of it. Has like looked up online or asked at the pet store how to take care of the turtle. I think that's true. And I think that the turtle is in a totally stable state. So let's pull 3 cards to ask, are they planning to return it? It sounds like they're not. But let's pull 3 cards. I mean, it sounds like they're not, just from what I'm reading in the chat, from what you're saying. Like, the Emperor. Judgment. And 10 swords. So the Emperor is the kind of, I think that the person who has the turtle, the friend, it sounds like it's the friend, is not is not interested in having somebody else tell them what to do, and is probably going to be really stubborn about the situation, and is not thinking about, there's someone who wants to be in total control. This is someone who wants to be in total control, and holding on to that turtle is a symbol that they have control, right? But judgment indicates waking up and potentially changing one's mind, like listening to reason. Like these figures have been asleep and they're answering the call, they're rising to the occasion, and they're saying, okay, fine. I need to be judged. I need to take account for myself for what I've done. And the 10 of Swords would indicate a resolution or a conclusion, an ending to a problem, right? It's painful, but 10 is the end of the cycle, 1 through 10, and then it stops at 10 in the tarot. There's no like 11 or 12. There's just court cards after that. And so I read 10s as the end of a circle, meaning now the wound can heal. So I think there's a possibility here that even though this person is very stubborn and does not want to listen to arguments about how they should return the turtle, this judgment indicates the possibility of a change of heart, a waking up, a realization, right, that maybe they've done something wrong and should put an end to the argument, put an end to the conflict so that there can be a resolution and the wounds can start to heal. So I do think there's some hope. There's some possibility here that this person's mind could be changed. And I think the trick is going to be other people. This person needs to listen to other people, like not just you, in other words. Because if you see on the card, we've got a group of people down here, right? And so I think it needs to be like his, I don't know, the friend's girlfriend needs to say, where'd you get that turtle? And then he explains that it's not really his turtle. And then the girlfriend is like, that's not your turtle. You should give it back, right? Or it needs to be that kind of thing where like somebody else who isn't you, I think, could convince this person that what they're doing isn't right and that they should give the turtle back, and that would put an end to it. So this person is pretty stubborn. They think of themselves very highly, right? They're sitting up in their throne and they've got, this is a shield, but I kind of think of it like the turtle, right? Because the turtles have the hard shell on the back. And so I'm thinking this looks like it. And they don't want to give it up. But that's just the first card. The next two cards are about changing one's mind and putting an end to a conflict. And so those suggest it could happen, right? There is a possibility of this person overcoming their own stubborn need to control. So I hope you get your turtle back. I can't believe someone stole it. That's terrible. And I'm looking at the chat. Luminous Starseed, I can put you on the list to have a reading if you'd like. I'll do that now. And so my list here, we've got, we skipped Maria. Maria, if you're here, let me know. Mira then would be next. Mira, if you're here, let me know. And then we've got Nicole, Prob, and Luminous Starseed next on the list. Mira's here. Okay, cool. Yeah, Mira, if you could repost your question, then I won't have to scroll up and try to find it. And I'll just shuffle while you're doing that. You're very welcome, Plemena. I really hope that you get your turtle back. But I do think it's fine in whatever situation it's currently in. YB hello, hello, good to see you. Okay, so Mira's question is, did my sister pass her exam? She feels like she was around the minimum needed, but she was very sad today. And Mira feels really bad for her. Okay. I'm glad you caught me again, too. If you're interested in a reading, let me know and I can put you on the list. And for anyone else watching, if you want a reading and you're not on the list, let me know and I can add you to the list. And if you can't stick around today or don't have a question right now, but might have one in the future, feel free to subscribe to the channel and then you can see when I'll be live in the future. I can add you to the list right now, YB Doe. Here we go. Okay, you're on the list. Okay, so we're going to pull 3 cards for Mira, asking if her sister passed her exam. All right, I'll give these just a little shuffle on camera. All right, we've got the King of Swords. This, I would think, represents a professor or a teacher. 3 swords. This can be learning, but it can also mean heartbreak. And the King of Batons. This would be like an administrator at the school. So, I mean, I think maybe she's close. Let's put the court cards aside and look at the 3. With swords, we think of the mind, right? And so it's an exam. And so we're thinking about the mind. 4s would indicate stability. 3s indicate not quite stable. It's about growing. 3s are about growth, expanding, but not necessarily achieving, right? So I would think this would sort of say probably not, I guess is what I'd say, like close to it. But it's like the professor is looking down at the professor or the teacher is looking down at this growth of the mind, but it's not quite enough. And this King of Batons This is someone who like works, someone in authority who works at the school, who's like a leader at the school or in the program. And they might need to do something about it. So, I would maybe, I don't know what your situation is with the sister, but I would err on the side of thinking that she could use some TLC, tender loving care and comforting. Like if you live near her, maybe you go pick up some ice cream and drive over there. I think that she's gotten close, and I do think she's learned, like she's improved, but seeing all of these kings with clubs and swords sitting around doesn't give a sense of happy fulfillment that I would expect from passing an important exam, right? So I'm going to say I think probably she didn't pass the exam, unfortunately. Sounds like you understand. Okay, that's a quick one. I mean, I think if she needs some reassuring, maybe you can reassure her how much she did learn, because it sounds like it's probably pretty tough, whatever the subject is. And so, sometimes we have to measure ourselves against where we were and not where other people say we're supposed to be, right? So next on my list is Nicole, if Maria's not here still. So Nicole, if you're here, you're welcome, Mira. Hi, Nicole. So I'm just shuffling over here. And let me scroll and see if you've posted a question. If you haven't, go ahead and, oh, here we go. When my turn comes, my question is, did my sister, oh, that's Mira. My bad. I'm looking for Nicole. Nicole. I think maybe, oh, there's your question. Got it. Okay. Recently cut ties with a friend, Thomas, but I'm expecting to receive a call from him within the next 2 weeks. You want to know what he feels about me or about your situation in general. Okay, a friend, Thomas. So sounds like this is not a love interest. This is just a regular friend that you stopped spending time with, and you expect to receive a call from him. And so you just want to know, like, what is this friend thinking? Do I have that right? Okay, got it. So you did date briefly for a little while, it sounds like, but ended up just deciding to be friends. Okay. So we'll pull 3 cards for that. That should give us an answer. What is Thomas thinking about Nicole? And if there's anyone there who's just joining us, welcome. My name's Will. I'm doing free tarot readings today, and I'll be live streaming every day this week. If you'd like a reading, you can ask to be added to the list by typing in the chat. And if you subscribe to the channel, you'll be able to see when I am live streaming in the future. Okay, Thomas's feelings for Nicole. Nine Wands. King of Wands. Ha 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 ha. 2 cups. So I think that he feels like there was an interruption in your relationship, which it sounds like there was, because either you or mutually you decided to be friends instead of date. This is him, right? The King of Wands. I think he is someone who kind of needs people to notice him. He needs attention. And I think he's thinking about getting back together. Like, he's looking at 2 cups, which is a relationship, right? Each of the cups is like a person, right? And the 2 of them are there like in a partnership. So I think he feels like the relationship was interrupted. He maybe is feeling even a little bit like wounded by that fact. And he wants attention from you again. And restarting the relationship would be the way to do that. If this isn't actually a love relationship, it is a very deep friendship, right? This card does come up sometimes for friendship too, but it's when there's 2 people who are very, like, this is an emotional, deep kind of connection, right? And that's what he's looking at. It's pretty clear there. That's what he sees. The other thing I could think of is the 9 of Wands, and then he's got the 10th wand over here, right? It's like he wants to take this 10th wand and add it to the pile, like to bring loyalty to the 2 of you together again. Let me just look at the chat. Yeah, Nicole says that their decision to be friends was very much based on impulsivity and emotions in the moment. That makes sense with wands. Wands are all about impulsiveness and just acting, quickly. But he's looking at 2 cups like it's in his mind that the 2 of you could be dating again. I think that's definitely there. Whether you want that or not is a different question. I would say if he's showing up here as a King of Batons, that would indicate he's someone who sort of likes to be the leader, kind of in charge, and needs attention, right? He's probably a social person, and wants friends and people to pay attention to him. He likes stimulation, likes excitement, likes to have fun. The kind of person who likes to have fun, right? And I think wants to have fun with you, right? Okay, cool. So Nicole, does that answer your question? These cards are pretty straightforward today. A lot of the readings today have just been the cards I feel not beating around the bush, but being really straightforward. You asked what he's thinking, and he's thinking about a relationship. You're very welcome. Oh, cool. Okay, glad to hear it. Glad to hear it, Nicole. So next on my list, Maria was back here. If Maria shows up, we'll read for her. Otherwise, Prab, I think I read for you yesterday. If you are here, then I can read for you. And then, okay, Prab is here. Great. So let me shuffle. And I see your question earlier is, may I please know when will I actually find a better job opportunity? I have been trying to find something better and stable for a long time now. Okay. So when will you find a better job opportunity? Okay. So it's a timing question. So I think what we'll do is, why don't I lay out 3 cards to represent approximately 1 month, and we'll see what we get there. And then if we don't get a yes, if we don't get a clear yes there, we'll lay out 3 more for another month, and we'll repeat that. That's how I tend to do timing questions, is I lay out cards with a specific time frame pre-established, and then I look to see if I can get a yes answer. And so that's what we will do. And since you've already been looking for a long time, I think 1 month increments makes the most sense. So I guess we'll start with like June. Approximately June will be the first 3 cards. Okay, and it's a job question. So we're looking for wands and coins. We would love to see lots and lots of coins cards pop up. Coins are the results of our work, and wands are the actual work itself. And so, like, if we saw lots of wands and no coins, it would mean there is a job, but it's not paying enough. And if we saw lots of coins with no wands, it would mean plenty of money without having to work very hard for it. If we see swords, we know trouble, probably not a job. And if we see cups, then we're thinking about being happy, but not necessarily in a financial or work-related way. And then, of course, we've got all the other cards in the deck, too. So that's what I'm looking for with a question like this. And the first 3 cards we lay out will represent about 1 month. All right, King of Batons. Page of Batons. And Queen of Swords. 3 court cards. That's tricky. Let's see. So the first thing I would want to do is establish who are each of these people, because we've got 3 personalities here. I'm thinking the middle one is probably you, because they're a page, meaning there's someone who's like at a quote unquote lower rank, right? Like someone who's just starting at a job, someone who's not totally established. And so here I would see you with a wand, which would mean like with a new work opportunity, but you're standing between a King of Batons, which is like the boss, I would think, and a Queen of Swords, which would maybe be like a manager or someone who's really kind of difficult to deal with. So, and of course, there are no coins, right? So I could see you in the next month finding a job opportunity, but I think it's going to be kind of a tough one, right? Like they're going to work you hard and you would sort of be stuck between these two people who are above you in rank, and like they're just staring at you. Do you see the way they're each like looking? So I want to pull some more cards, I think. Let me just look at the chat. Okay, so you do have a job now, but you're not getting enough hours. Okay, so and is this the kind of thing like where you're like you've got bosses above you and you're sort of new there, or if you're not new, like you haven't advanced a lot, so there's like other people sort of above you around? Let's pull 3 more cards. And let's see, because now I do wonder if this is describing the current situation where like it's fine. There is work happening, but it's just not, there's not a lot of room for advancement. Yeah, your bosses are watching you all the time. That's exactly what I see here. These two people, the one with the sword and the one with the stick, are like constantly looking at you. So it seems like that will continue for the next month. What about July? Is anything there? Well, we've got cups and the moon. And so these would indicate cups are about being happy, right? But they're not necessarily about being financially happy, or like having more money, or about having like a promotion or room for advancement or anything like that. With the moon, we could think too of sometimes of confusion or distraction. So there could be confusion or distraction at work. Like if you see the way that the dogs are sort of, well, or dog and wolf, depending on how you read them, are sort of barking at the moon because they don't know what it's doing or what it is. And this like weird lobster thing is climbing up out of the water, representing something unconscious coming to the surface. So your feelings about your work situation might intensify there, like get stronger. But I don't see a change. Let's do one more. This would be August. All right. Okay, here's some coins. And here are 8. Okay. So I think there's a chance in August. Because in August, we've got King of Swords, which could be like a hiring manager, right? It's someone in authority. And they've got 4 coins to give you. 4 coins, that's financial stability, steadiness financially. And so if you feel like you're already sort of financially steady, this might indicate that the job is paying about the same. But with the 8 wands, this would indicate things happening very quickly and you being very busy. And I think it could also potentially indicate room for advancement. If you think about the way that you're represented by the Page of Wands in the first string of 3 cards, there's like a lot of really good work that you could be doing, sort of weaving all of these wands together, getting lots of tasks and projects done together to get these little flowers to grow. And it would indicate things moving very quickly. This is the card of speed or swiftness. We could also think here, sometimes folks will read this card in terms of like following rules, following regulations, doing things by the book. So if there's any career that would make sense there where it's about like making sure things are happening in an organized, correct way, like there's a policy and your job is to make sure the policy is enforced correctly or something like that, that would make sense with this card. And I'm going to add Vidhi to the list and Ari, the beautiful Aries princess, to the list. I see you in the chat. Okay. So I think there's a chance in August. That's what I would say. If you like structured environments, this is good because 4 is the number of structure and 8 would be like doubled structure, right? So one just note that I want to add with a predictive reading like this is, and it's sort of one reason why I'm a little wary with predictive readings, because like if I say here the job is coming up in August, that doesn't mean do nothing because it's coming no matter what, right? It means like keep trying for it, keep doing your best. We all have free will and we all have the ability to have agency and make some kind of change in our lives, right? It's not 100% free. There's some things we can't change, right? But I would never want anyone to have me predict something and then them decide that they don't need to take action or take responsibility, and then that could actually make it not come true, right? It can sort of be like a reverse situation where since I said it would happen, it doesn't happen because the person heard me say it was going to happen, right? And then it doesn't. So it's the kind of thing where we all of us have to keep in mind the extent to which we have power in situations and try to do our best to manifest what we want and all of that. Just because the cards one day say that something's coming doesn't mean it's 100% guaranteed. It's like the weather, right? Like the weatherman could say it's going to rain tomorrow and then it doesn't. And everybody gets upset at the weatherman, right? So, all right, let's look at my list here. I think I've got Luminous Starseed next. Cool. I'm glad you believe in constant actions. You get the idea. Cool. Great. Mostly I was saying that just for anybody else who might be listening along. So is Luminous Starseed here? You're very welcome, Prob, for the reading. You're very welcome. I enjoyed doing it. And yes, Miss Ashley, I can add you to my list of folks. Here's my list. I can show it to everybody. We skipped over Maria. We've got Luminous Starseed next if they are here. And then if not, YB Doe would be next up on the list. And so I'm not hearing from Luminous Starseed. So YBDo, if you want to ask a question in the chat, unless you already did, that is possible and I missed it. But if you didn't, go ahead and post a question. You're very welcome. I like doing these readings. Miss Ashley says it's their first time doing this. Well, welcome. My name's Will, and I'm doing free tarot readings. And I'm excited to read for you. Okay, YBDo says, okay, is there anything that's working for me in the background that I don't know of for finances? Been doing what I could, but I don't seem to see anything moving. Okay. So, is there anything working in your favor that you're not aware of in terms of money? So I think I'll start by just laying out 3 cards to answer that question, and we'll see what we get. I like a 3-card spread. I'll start with that, and then if I feel like that answers the question, then we're good. And if I feel like we need more cards, we can always lay out more cards. The Hermit. One of my favorite cards. I named my channel after the Hermit's lantern that he carries there. And so with this card, I would think something that could be working in your favor is your ability to search to improve and your independence. I mean, the Hermit is on their own here. They're finding their way in the dark. They've got this lantern that provides a certain quantity of light, and they've got their cane to keep them upright and help them find their way. So there's a certain sense of persistence here, like to continue going, to continue moving. Page of Batons. We just saw this card a moment ago in the previous reading. This is someone who's an explorer, someone who's not afraid to try new things. It makes a lot of sense with the Hermit, really. The difference is that the hermit is searching for something, and the page of wands isn't not necessarily looking for something in specific, but they're just exploring. They're sort of looking around just to look around, trying different things in the world or going different places, trying out different techniques or jobs. That could be too, especially with wands. So there's a great sense of openness, right? Like openness to try new things and learn new things. Ooh, and coins. This is expanding your material well-being, like potentially with money. So, you know, the way I would read this is that these are sort of two aspects of your personality. And I kind of think they're saying, instead of doing this, do this so that you can find these coins. So if I read it that way, it would mean instead of searching for a specific thing that you think you want, try exploring just to see what's out there, even if you don't know what you're going to come across, because that is where you will find the 6 coins that expand your material well-being, right? So the quick answer to your question is yes. I think there is something working in the background, and it's certain aspects of your personality. And I think that the key here, if we're talking specifically related to finances, would be explore. You know, the valet or the page of wands is sometimes referred to as like the Peter Pan card, meaning it's like the young person who just never grows up, right? And is like, I can try this, or I could try that, I could try this other thing. They don't get old like the hermit, you know, is an old man, right? They've got a beard and they're aging, they have wrinkles and all of this. And so the spread is sort of saying, like, don't get too stuck in your old ways. Explore in a youthful kind of way new things, because I think these coins might come from a source where you're not expecting them, you know, like maybe it's a job or a business or something that you never thought you'd do, but by exploring you find it, and then here come these coins. So that's a really nice spread, I think, to see. And anytime someone asks about money and coins show up, I'm happy, especially with a number that's even. And 6 is good because it's about expansion, right? 4 would be steady, 5 would be disruption, but 6 is like you're on your feet, expanding in harmony again. So that's a really good card to see, I think, for this specific question. Cool. That's great. All right, let me look at the chat. And let's look at my list here. So we skipped Maria. Luminous Starseed, if you're here, or Vidhi, if you're here, I can read for you. Maria, Luminous Starseed, or Vidhi. Yeah, I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic and hopeful with these cards coming up. Another way to think about it would be the hermit's looking back to the past, the old way, how things used to be. And the page is looking forward to the future. And there's coins up there. You're very welcome. I'm glad I got to read for you live. Finally, you've been leaving so many great comments on my videos. And if Maria, Luminous Starseed, and Vidhi are not here, then Ari the Beautiful, you would be next. And if Ari's not here, we'll go right on to Miss Ashley. And I think this is Miss Ashley's first tarot reading. So maybe if it's your first reading, Miss Ashley, I could give you, well, let's see. Let me make sure that you're here. Yeah, he's looking at the money. Exactly. The Hermit's looking at the past. The Page is looking forward, and that's where the money is. And so the Page is exploring and not afraid to try new things and go places maybe they've never been before, all that stuff. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm enjoying doing these readings. I enjoy them a lot more than the pick a card. I mean, the pick a card readings are fine, but being able to interact, at least in the chat, and get context and feedback and answer follow-up questions and stuff like that, it's just a way better experience. So I'm not sure where we're at. If Miss Ashley is here, or Ari the Beautiful, or Vidhi, or Luminous Starseed, or Maria. Those are the next folks on my list. And I know that folks can't always wait. You know, when you come into the chat room, and you ask to be put on the list, I add you to the list, but then it might be 30 or 40 minutes because I got to get through 3 or 4 readings before I get to you, and you may not be able to stick around that long, and I totally understand if that does happen. Yeah, totally better engagement. 100% better engagement. So if there's anyone listening who doesn't know, my name's Will. I'm doing free tarot readings today, and my plan is to do them every day this week, do a live stream every day this week. If you subscribe to my channel, you'll be able to see when I'm streaming. I've been doing it in the afternoons. I'm on the west coast of the US, and so afternoons tend to work best for me, which, like, east coast of US time puts it later into the evening, and then depending where you are in the world, that can change. Okay, hi, Miss Ashley. Hello. I am ready to answer a question if you have one for me. And if it's your first tarot reading, I'll say you can ask pretty much anything. I find the best questions tend to be when you ask, like, instead of what's going to happen, if you ask, like, how can you make something happen? I think those can usually be when we frame the question in a way where it sort of gives us a sense of purpose and agency, I just feel like that's better. But you can ask anything you like, and we can modify the question or change it if we need to. And your name isn't Ashley, by the way. That's okay. I don't need to know real names to get real answers. And so, like, sometimes folks will just ask about stuff in general in their life, like they'll want a general reading, or sometimes there's a really specific question like, how can I get more money? Or sometimes folks will ask about relationships. I think that tarot readers, most of the time, probably 90% of the time, the questions we get are about love relationships, but I'm open to just about any kind of question. There's probably some questions where I wouldn't answer or I'd want to change the question, but whatever you'd like to try, I'm open to considering. Yeah, if you want to just put a question in the chat, Miss Ashley, like, is there something in specific you've been wondering about or a certain aspect of your life that you'd like to know more about? Or I guess I could just say, would you rather have a general reading? If you just want a general reading, I could do that too. Oh, okay. Hi, DJ. So, DJ, should we just do a general reading for you? Maybe you're typing. Okay, general reading. Cool. So we'll do a general reading for about a year. So what I'll do is do a 9-card spread and see what comes up. I'll lay 9 cards out face down, flip them up one at a time. The center card will tell us the main concern. The corners will give us a theme. Then we can read the columns for a timeline, and we'll read the rows to get more information. Okay. So general love and career reading. Okay. Okay, here we go. For DJ, 8 of Wands, busy, busyness. 5 of Wands, competition, maybe unnecessary conflict. The Proclaimer. Can I ask, are you a student, DJ? Are you learning or studying anything? Champion of Swords. The Lovers is at the center of your spread. Seven of Wands. The Defender. Seven Pentacles. Champion of Cups. Okay. So, a couple of initial things I'd notice. First, we got quite a bit of wands. 8 wands, 5 wands, 7 wands. And so that indicates you will be busy. You'll have a lot of tasks going on. It could maybe be a little bit stressful, right? But not necessarily in a bad way. But it's not about resting. It's about working. It's about doing stuff this next year. The center of the spread has got the Lover's card, and so this can certainly be about a relationship. And so I would be inclined to think that you've got, if you're not already in a relationship, that you've got one on the horizon for you. The Lover's card can also be about making a choice, having to choose something, like a big choice in your life and trying to figure out what the right choice is. That would be the other possibility. But I do wonder, with these two court cards where we've got the Champion of Swords and the Champion of Cups, I wonder if these are two people who are trying to get together in a relationship. Let's look at the corners of the spread because that will give us some context. I'd asked if you were a student because this card number 5, the Proclaimer, is often about being in school. Or it can also refer to, like, if someone's a teacher, then this could refer to them. But this is about finding one's way in life by following some kind of tradition. Conventions that are passed down from history, right? And so, like, it can also refer to religion or church, if you're very involved with, like, religion or church. But for most people today, it refers to school, university, learning things, that kind of thing. And so it seems like you'd be very busy doing that, being very busy in school, or being very busy being involved in some kind of social institution, right? Without a little more context, I wouldn't know for sure what that could be, but we've got the book here. And so with the book, I'm thinking about learning, and with the keys, I'm thinking about finding the key to knowledge, right? Down here with the Champion of Cups, this represents a person. Okay, you're thinking about going back to school. That helps. So this would indicate that you do go back to school, that you very quickly are very busy going back to school. And while you're there, the Champion of Cups is someone who's very romantic. So, like, I wonder if you will meet someone that you could be in a relationship with if you decide to go back to school. The Champion of Cups is the most romantic, like, knight in shining armor kind of person. And so I wonder if you could sort of take on that role for yourself with someone else if you were to go back to school. And the last card in the corner is the Defender. This would be the Emperor in another deck. And this card is all about being stable, having control, making progress, getting sort of all of your life in order, and progressing, being very disciplined, right? And so that would be a really good thing to see if we're talking about going back to school, that you'd be very disciplined about it. So let's look at the columns. Early in the year, we could see Eight of Wands being very busy. Like if you work, I could see you having a lot to do at work. If you don't work, this could just be stuff you're doing around the house. It can also be social activities because wands can represent social activities. And trying to determine what it is that you really believe in with the Champion of Swords, because I get a sense that you want to rush forward and do something, but you're not sure what it is. That's very Champion of Swords. It's the Knight of Swords in other decks. And so if you think of a knight right on horseback, like rushing off with their sword drawn, and the sword representing their beliefs and their mind. And so that's the sense that I get. You want to, it's like you're trying to find your path in life to move forward. With the next column, in the middle part of the year, the next upcoming year, there might be some competition. Like if you go back to school, you might be competing a bit with others. And it can sometimes get out of hand. And so a little friendly competition is a lot of fun, or can be a lot of fun. It depends on a person's personality, right? Not everybody likes competition, but you have to be careful that everyone's sort of playing by the rules and not being mean. And so with the Five of Wands, it's about competing with one another, but making sure it doesn't turn into unnecessary fights or conflict, right? We see the Lovers here, and so I almost wonder if the person you meet to be in a relationship is someone you're like competing with in a class or something. Like the two of you are in class together, and there's some like friction, metaphorical friction that turns into the beginnings of a relationship, right? You might have some obstacles with your material well-being, which can be money, energy, or time. That would make a lot of sense. If you decide to go back to school, that costs money, that takes away your time, it takes away your energy, right? And there may be a certain moment where you are wondering if it's all worth it. That's what the Seven of Pentacles would tell us. And then the last column here on the right, going back to school and feeling a certain sense of having to struggle. Like there's just so many tasks to do that it seems overwhelming, and you're maybe not 100% sure about how you're going to get everything done, which I will tell you is a very common experience for students. You know that already, I'm sure, but you know, that's sort of not fun, but normal, right? To feel like it's a struggle to be a student. I think being a student is really hard, even though it pays off in the long run. Let's read the rows now. That can give us just a little more information. The top row is what you're thinking about. So you're thinking about going back to school, and it seems like you know how much work it's going to be, right? Because we've got all these wands up here. You know you're going to be you would be very busy, and that there'd be a lot of sort of like being in the metaphorical rat race, having to compete for grades with other people. What are you doing? Turning your thoughts into action. You are preparing for a new quest. That's how I would read this guy here, the Champion of Swords, preparing for a new quest. And it seems like you want to be in a relationship with the Lovers here in the middle. And it seems like you're maybe willing to struggle for it. Like you're willing to go the extra mile. You're willing to put in the effort that it would take for a relationship. The bottom cards will tell you what you're not totally aware of, what is influencing the situation, but that you maybe can't totally see. And so, on the one hand, we've got the defender, which I think is indicating that you very much want stability and control, which is maybe why the going back to school is causing some apprehension, because you would have to give up some of that stability and control while you're in school. Everybody else is going to, all your professors or teachers will tell you what to do, and there'll be so many tasks and it'll be stressful and it costs money and all of this. Maybe there's some lack of knowledge or uncertainty about how you would pay for it. And that could be a financial obstacle down here in the middle. And then I wonder, I'm seeing 2 court cards here, and I've been interpreting them each as representing a different aspect of your personality. And so I think the one that you're more aware of is the Champion of Swords, which is the one who is examining their belief system and who is prepared to follow something that they do believe in, and is intelligent and smart and wants to use their mind, right? But this other card, Champion of Cups, this is the one who is emotional and interested in pursuing a romantic relationship or just a deep relationship with another person. And since this card is showing up in the bottom of the spread, the bottom row, it makes me think maybe you're not 100% aware of how important a close emotional relationship might be for you. And so that would be something I would suggest thinking about. It seems like maybe you're the kind of person who really consciously is using their mind, which of course we all do, but is very focused on using their mind, is what I mean, and maybe isn't totally aware of how important emotional fulfillment is. Okay, so how does that sound? What do you think, DJ, of that? If this is your first reading, maybe you're not sure what to think, but let me know if you feel like you have some sense of what's coming up for you, or if you have a lingering question. I'd be happy to try to respond to it, answer it. And while you do that, I'm just going to look at the chat. And if there's anyone watching who doesn't know, my name is Will. I'm doing free tarot readings today. While I'm waiting to hear from DJ, if there's anyone from my list, I'm probably getting near the end of the live stream today because I've been going for 2.5 hours. So Maria, Luminous Starseed, Vidhi, or Ari the Beautiful, if any of you are here, let me know in the chat and I can still do a reading for you. And if anyone watching isn't subscribed, consider subscribing so that you can see when I will be live in the future. This is a new channel. I've been working on this channel for just a couple of months, and I've been going live since last weekend, I think it was. and I'm really enjoying doing live readings. And so I'm planning to go live every day this week. And if you subscribe, you'll be able to see when I'm live. And whenever I've got free time, I'll probably be jumping on to do readings. My plan is to do them on a semi-regular basis, but if I'm sitting around and feel the urge to do a few readings, I might just pop on with no warning. So if you're subscribed, you'll be able to see in there that I'm going live. So DJ, if you have any follow-up questions, let me know. Okay, so I see Plamena has a follow-up question about the turtle situation, so I can do that. And then I see Susu has asked if I could read about their financial situation. So yes, I could do that too. And I think what I'll do is probably those two readings, and then I think I'll end the live stream for today because that'll probably put me at about 3 hours, which is long enough. So DJ, if I don't hear anything from you, I'm going to go ahead and clear the cards up. Maybe what I'll do is just pick them up. But because I'm going to use a different deck anyways for Plamena's question. Okay, so Plamena, should you contact the friend with the turtle again? And in case folks weren't here earlier, Plamena's situation was that her ex and ex's friend stole her pet turtle, and she wanted to know if the turtle was okay. And it seems like the turtle was or is currently okay, as far as I could tell from the cards. They had sought advice on how to take care of the turtle, and the Four of Cups came up, indicating stability, right? Not necessarily thriving, but stable. And then the question, I think the next question was, will this friend return the turtle? And it seemed like he's awfully stubborn and wants to maintain control. But the Judgment card came up, I remember. I think it was Judgment and 10 of Swords. And so that would be that maybe he could have a reawakening and put an end to the conflict. And so now we're going to ask whether Plamena should reach out, speak to this person again about returning the turtle. And so I'm going to pull 3 cards to answer that question. strength. And we've got an animal in the picture. It's a lion, but given the context of the question, I think of a turtle, right? Because it's a pet. It's an animal. The hermit, searching for something. And 6 wands, which can mean victory, which can mean collaboration, working with someone else to make something happen, get something done. So seeing these two figures, I would interpret this as you and this as the friend who's got the turtle. And the fact that they're facing makes me think of having a conversation. And so that would make me inclined to think, yes, talk to them again, right? And maybe let them know how much the turtle means to you. I'm just having some thoughts about... I'm having some thoughts that don't have anything to go with the cards. Don't have anything to do with the cards, which is tough when you're a reader because I have so many personal opinions about what you should do, and maybe I will share those, but they're separate from what I'm actually seeing in the cards. So I get the sense that this person, they're searching for something. It's almost like, is there any possibility that they don't even want the turtle and they're only keeping the turtle because your ex doesn't want you to have it? And so they're just hanging on to it to sort of make their friend happy because it makes you unhappy. And it's almost like they're searching for a reason to not have to deal with the whole situation anymore. That's the little story that comes to mind. And so in that case, like maybe they'd be willing to listen to reason. Because like if they really wanted a turtle, like if they have no emotional attachment to this particular turtle, couldn't they just go get a turtle? Do you know what I mean? Like, I guess I've never bought a turtle, so I don't know how much they are, but I would think like, unless it's a really rare kind of species, you can just go to the pet store and buy a turtle. So like, why are they hanging on to it so much? It has nothing to do directly with the turtle. It's about hurting you. And so like, maybe they're just doing their friend, your ex, a favor, but they don't actually want this turtle, you know? Does any of that sound like a possibility? And DJ's responded to say, great reading. I agree with it. Sorry for the late reply. I was behind on time. Yeah, no worries, DJ. I hope you got something out of that reading and it resonated and helps you think about how to like make good plans for yourself. And if you do decide to go back to school, I hope that it works out. I know it'll be stressful. It always is going back to school, but I wish you the best with it. So Plamina says, yes, it sounds like that could be the situation. So yeah, I mean, I think it would be worthwhile to talk to him again because I think he's sort of maybe looking for a reason to not have to deal with this anymore. And so now I'm going to say a couple of things that have nothing to do with what I see in the cards, but are just like my own personal thoughts to consider. And so like, if you have any proof that you purchased the turtle, then it's your property. Like if you bought that turtle and have a bank statement or a receipt or something that says you bought it, it's yours. Like you could threaten to sue and you could totally be bluffing, but if you threaten to sue, maybe that would give him enough reason to be like, okay, well, I better just give it to her. And now I have a good excuse to explain to the ex, which like his friend, explain to his friend why he couldn't hold onto the turtle because he was afraid that you'd like come after him legally or something. That's not in the cards. That's just me having to say something about the situation because I'm angry that they took your turtle and it's not right. So yeah, I would consider it like, or even if you have like, if you have a friend or a family member who like knows that it was your turtle and like would be willing to say, I'll testify in court that she bought this turtle and it's her property, right? I mean, I don't think this guy necessarily even wants the turtle. Not for the turtle's sake. He's only got the turtle because of how it makes you feel, right? It's like that's emotional manipulation, right? And I think he's doing it because his friend talked him into it. But if he could find a way out, I think he'd be open to that. Okay, I am winding down here because we're getting on at night and it's almost time to think about figuring out dinner. Yeah, definitely crazy people, Plamena, totally crazy. So is Susu here? And if Susu is here, you're very welcome for the reading. Susu, if you're here, I will give you a reading on your financial situation. Otherwise, I think I'm going to call it a night, at least for now. So if Susu is here, still, I'll do your reading. Or I guess, why don't I go through the list? If any of the people on the list are here, I'll do a final reading. Maria, Luminous, Starseed, Vidhi, or Ari. Hi, Mari Jaina. I'm just wrapping up my live stream today, but if you subscribe, I'm doing live streams every day this week. And so my next one will be tomorrow, probably around 3 o'clock Pacific time, like West Coast of the US. But if you subscribe to the channel, you'll be able to see when I go live. And then I do first come, first serve readings. So when you see that I'm live, if you come in and just ask to be put on the list, then I'll put you on the list. Here's the list just so you can see, right? And then I go through and I check people off, first come, first served. And sometimes you have to wait, if there's 3 people ahead of you or whatever. But if you subscribe, you'll be able to see when I'm live. Okay, well, it seems like Susu's not here. Oh, you are here, Susu. Okay, so you'll be my last reading of the evening, and you asked for future financial situation. Okay, so maybe could you just tell me a couple little contextual details, like are you currently working, or is your current financial situation like stable but you want it to be better, or there's a specific financial concern you don't know how you could overcome it, like you see a big bill coming up, or if there's any details like that you want to throw at me that could help me give a clearer picture. But what I'll do is shuffle these cards and lay out 3 of them, and let's give this, let's do 3 months. Let's do the next 3 months. Let's start there. 3 cards for 3 months. And then if we feel like we need a follow-up, maybe we could throw a little bit more. Bye, YB Doe. You too, stay blessed. It was great to have you in the chat here. Have a great evening. or morning or wherever you are. Have a great time. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Okay, this is for Susu. We're thinking about 3 months, and we want to know about finances. Okay, we've got a lot of cups. 6 coins. That's good news. And the strength card coming up again. So, 10 cups over here. This means happy, happy, happy. This is sort of the card of ultimate happiness in the tarot deck. It doesn't always last with this card because it's so great, but 10, cups are what make us happy. Cups hold water that nourishes us. They hold wine, for example, that makes us feel good. And 10 of them means there's plenty for everybody, right? 6 coins is about expanding your material well-being, right? Putting your material well-being into better harmony. And so this could mean a bigger income stream. It could mean having more time or energy. In general, it would mean good things for your material world, like your ordinary everyday stuff. So like if you're trying to find a part-time job, as it sounds like you are from the chat, this would indicate an expansion of your finances. And I'd ask for a 3-month time window on these. So I'm going to say, I think it's likely in 3 months you will have, or before, but like sometime in that period, you will have access to more money, an expanded pool of money than you currently do. You will need to be strong. This card is strength, right? And so this figure on the card is drawing from her own or their own inner strength. So it's not necessarily going to be easy. And there might even be a little bit of a sense of having to take a risk, in the way that this person is doing something like opening up this lion's mouth or trying to close the lion's mouth. It's risky to get that near a lion, right? So it might be the kind of thing where like you're having a really good time and you're getting a part-time job that's bringing you in more money, but you have to be strong so that you don't like drop the ball with your studies, for example, right? That would be one thing to consider because like I'm not seeing cards here indicating like studying. Those would be swords cards or even just like work kind of cards, which would be wands. So yeah, I think it's likely that the job will come up, but what you've got to watch out for is that it doesn't take away too much from your from number one, from your studies if you're a student, but from number two, from your sort of personal happiness, right? So how does that sound? Susu, does that answer your question? And Luminous Starseed, yes, I had you on the list so I can do a reading for you. I think you'll be my last one of the night. So if you want to put your question in the chat. Okay, and I see Luminous Starseed's question here is about their partner, Anthony, and you're wondering Anthony's current feelings, intentions towards you. You're Jessica. Hi, Jessica. And the connection overall, and he is your partner. Okay, yeah, we can do that for sure. I'm just waiting to hear from Susu if everything sounds good, if this all makes sense before I pick up the deck and shuffle. But I think Susu may not be here because I think only one person's in there. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. Oh, there you are. Oh, cool. Susu says thank you. So you're very welcome, Susu. I think there's good things on the horizon for you financially, expanding. 10 cups is happiness. And then just remember, be strong. Not to let other things fall through the cracks, like your studies if you're taking on a part-time job. Okay, so Luminous Starseed, this will be the last reading of the night, and we're reading about Anthony, who is Jessica's partner, and we're going to read from his perspective. We'll pull 3 cards. What does Anthony think or feel about Jessica? I know it might seem like a lot of shuffling, but you really need at least 7 good shuffles to totally randomize the cards. So just let me do a few more. And I see, hello, Queen Bean. Hi, I'm just wrapping up today's live stream. I'm almost 3 hours in, and so this is going to be my last reading. But if you subscribe to my channel, you can see when I'll be live tomorrow. I'm planning to go live every day this week. And if you're subscribed, you'll be able to easily see when I am live. And when I'm doing live streams, folks can request readings in the chat, and then I'll add you to the list, and then I'll go down the list, and first come, first serve for a free reading. Okay, so what does Anthony feel? What are his intentions towards Jessica? Two of Wands, so he's making plans for the future. 10 Cups. We just had it, but you saw me shuffle. This is long-term happiness, family. Almost couldn't ask for a better card. And 2 Cups. Great. Partnership. Yeah. All good intentions here. Making plans for the future, to be happy with you, like long term, I would think, with this. And seeing the 2 after the 10, one way of interpreting that is all of the 10 cups reduced down to 2. And so if we were reading that in the more pessimistic side of things, it might mean like feelings have lessened, but there's still the couple, which is a really good card. But the more optimistic way of reading this, which I would be inclined to read it, would be like making plans for the future to be happy together and focus on your partnership together, right? So, I mean, I think he's in this for the long haul. Does that resonate, Jessica? Does that sound? This is all good things. I mean, the only other way I could read this is this can be a choice. Two of Wands could be he's at a crossroads. And she says, we barely moved in together overall, but he's separated from his mother's child. Okay, got it. And we are working on finances and everything overall to come together. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think he really does want to make it work. The Two of Wands would indicate he was at a crossroads, sounds like, and he made a choice, right? And the choice he's made, he believes, right? The way that I asked the question was from his perspective. So this is all about what he's thinking, right? And so he's thinking he's made a choice to make plans for long-term happiness being partnered with you. That's how I would read that. There are no swords here. There are no warning cards like the Tower or the Magician even. I would think he's being tricky. If I saw the Devil, I would get worried. If I saw Death, I might get worried. None of those cards are here. So I think he's like, his intentions are love. There's lots of cups here. The 10 and the 2, you almost couldn't ask for better cards when asking about a relationship reading. The 10 would be about long-term relationship, and the 2 is about clarifying that it's really a partnership, like two people being close to one another. So I think there's a lot of room for optimism and hope there. So does that sound cool? Does that sound good? And if there's, I'm not sure who all's in the room. I see 2 folks, but I'm going to end the live stream, but if you subscribe, if you're not already subscribed, then you'll be able to see when I am live streaming, because I'll be live streaming tomorrow and every day this week, and maybe more than once a day. We'll see how things go. So you're concerned about the baby's mother, who's really sneaky. It's very odd, and that's why you ask, because she's manipulating. Yeah, I can understand that. Should we pull 3 cards for her? These were for him, but we could ask, what's she? Esmeralda. So she's asking other people for advice about how to get him back because she feels alone. The 7 of Cups, see how this 1 cup in the center is isolated from the other 3? This is her sort of bordered off from the other ones. So she's single, it seems. And this card, the Pope or the Hierophant, this would be about asking for counsel, asking for advice, talking to other people, trying to figure out a way through talking to someone who might be able to help, and then seeing the Lovers come up means like she would want to see him choose her instead of you. So if she would be doing spells or getting readings, that could be what this card is saying, that she's going to like a wise person for spiritual help, assistance, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't think that she's on your side, but I think he is. And so I would trust in that. I mean, if you just look at the way the cards come out, you guys have more cups than she does, right? She's got 7, but you guys have 10 plus 2, right? So yeah, I mean, I would be aware of her. Don't be naive, you know. She's trying to get him back, but he is interested in something long term with you. That's what I would see with those cards. So I hope that helps to give a little peace of mind about him. I am really thankful to everyone who was here today and joined the live stream. Even if you're not still here, this will be posted up on my channel. And if anybody's watching it after the fact, I'm really grateful to everybody who came and let me read for them. It was a lot of fun reading for you all today. And I will be reading live every day this week. Subscribe to the channel so that you'll know when I'm on. I've been doing it in the afternoons because that tends to work best with my schedule. And I will leave it there. Thanks so much, everybody. Be well. Jessica, you're very welcome. And if there's anybody here who I didn't get a chance to read for, if you subscribe to the channel, you'll be able to see when I'm doing live readings again in the future. And tomorrow will be the next time that I'm doing that. So see you then, and I'll say good night or goodbye. Be well. Bye, everyone.